have to agree with WowCrendor when he said that the decline in World of Warcraft's popularity is due to Blizzard's own decisions. I would say that the biggest problem is everything is starting to feel old. You mentioned that Twin Peaks is just a revamp of Warsong Gulch, but it's starting to feel like the whole expansion is that way. Having the expansion take place in the old world has a lot of longtime players feeling bored. Although, personally, I find Vashj'ir in Deepholm to be very beautiful and unique, how often do you go there after you finish leveling? In fact, how often do you leave Stormwind? The dailies don't even require that you leave the city anymore. I'm sure they were trying to make it more convenient, but I think it's a contributing factor to player attrition. Even raids are feeling kind of the same. Nefarian, for example. I mean, didn't we already kill that guy? Of all the raids, Throne of the Four Winds was the most interesting in this expansion. The Conclave fight, for example, was very different and exciting. But they really killed that with a ridiculous loot table. I think that my guild disenchanted more items from that fight than all the rest of the fights combined. And the content really seems dumbed down in a lot of ways. I mean, the epic battles like Sunwell and Zul'Aman just don't seem to exist anymore. Now, Sunwell may have been a little too difficult, but even the content now just seems a little too easy. And in my opinion, having the 10 and 25 man versions share the same loot is a big contributing factor. I've done several encounters both in the 10 man and 25 version, and I was surprised at how shockingly easier the 10 man versions were. But yet they're handing out the same loot. It also seems to me that in Blizzard's attempt to homogenize the classes, they're missing something very important. The reason classes are unique and different is for those very differences. That's what makes us want to roll hundreds of alts. And if you take away what makes each class different and make them all so similar, why would we want to roll so many alts anymore? Rolling tons of alts is what keeps players subscribing. Also, many players have lost faith in the way Blizzard has been handling in-game troubles. In the recent past, they have been slow to fix in-game glitches. 4.1 brought the usual array of glitches, and within hours, they had fixed the Infinite Death Knight rune problem. But it took almost 2 weeks to fix a supposed glitch that caused Rogue's Ambush to completely ignore a player's resilience. And people on my server are still suffering from a glitch that will automatically teleport you to the nearest cemetery for no apparent reason and while you're still alive. Very annoying. The worst of all was right after the Shattering, when Isle of Conquest was an unplayable mess for Alliance. The hangar was completely bugged and unusable, and even if we did succeed in getting the Horde Gate down, in its place would spawn an enormous pink impenetrable box, which made it impossible for us to win. This went on for several weeks. Now, even if they had just decided to take it out of the rotation, that would have been improvement. But perhaps they were too busy getting ready for the expansion, or maybe because of the expansion they decided it wasn't worth their trouble to fix it at that time. But once they've started to lose our faith, it takes a lot of work to gain back our confidence. Now, you mentioned that Twin Peaks is just Warsong Gulch with a makeover, but I've actually heard a lot of complaints that this particular map is highly Horde favored. Now, I know it just sounds like I'm an Alliance sitting here whining, but these are true things that I've heard from other players, and I can see what they're talking about. If you look at the map, there is one Horde graveyard on each side of the map, yet both of the Alliance graveyards are on the same side of the map, leaving one side completely free of opposition for the Horde to get through. And at the Horde base, it's got that very nice little water covering. It's great for kind of going in a little bit incognito, but I mean, even if people are smart enough to have their nameplates on, it's really not going to hide you that much. Plus, it really slows down any flag carrier trying to make a quick exit. And Tol Barad, for example, I think it's a very fun concept, and I've had a lot of good times there. But again, I've heard a lot of player gripes about this particular map. Blizzard has said that they wanted to make Tol Barad easier to defend than it is to attack, and I think they succeeded in that. However, some players are still feeling, even after the fix that they made early on, that it's too difficult. They're starting to feel that it's impossible and are giving up on TB altogether. Another thing that I've noticed in TB is It seems that there's a disparity between the number of Horde and the number of Alliance signed on at different times. I know that supposedly they've put a system in place that's supposed to equal that out, but I don't see it. I've been on several times where there was way more Horde and we got slaughtered. Plus I remember at least one time where I was on and only 6 Horde signed on. And of course they got creamed, and that is the exact trouble that they said they wanted to avoid from Wintergrasp. So what exactly are they doing to prevent that? Another thing you mentioned, WowCrendor, is that rated BGs aren't turning out to be as popular as they thought. Well, get this, in patch 4.2, they are planning to force people to have to do them if they want to get their conquest. Only 2/3 of the allowable conquest per week is going to be able to come from arenas. The other 1/3 has to come from rated battlegrounds. So how do you like that? Personally, I like rated battlegrounds. My guild is getting better at them and we run them every weekend, and it's a lot of fun for me. But do you really like the fact that they're going to make you have to do them if you want to get your conquest? Personally, I still believe in World of Warcraft. It has the potential to remain popular and remain the leading MMO. But with more and more competition every day, Blizzard is going to have to work hard to keep its edge. They cannot leave glitches unfixed, even minor ones, or they're going to continue to lose player confidence. The new Fireland expansion promises to be very unique and interesting. I think these encounters are going to bring back a lot of that newness and the interest that players have been losing. Blizzard says they've been working very hard on it, but they're really going to have to deliver if they want to keep players interested.
I can't speak. I came from the dentist. My mouth is numb.